Little bit of story time. My uncle started teaching me how to crappie fish when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I've always enjoyed fishing. It just didn't really matter what kind of fishing it was. Maybe that was the one then. It was just waiting for it to be over with. And that is it. As I got older, into my teens, I met a gentleman by the name of Jimmy Moore that he kind of taught me the ropes of crappie fishing, something I had never done before. I started fishing docks. From that point, I was tournament fishing in the bass world. Keaton, as he started getting a little older, he'd been on the front of the boat since he was about 9 years old.
Woo! Giant!
He said, giant. Giant that ain't gonna help. That one is not gonna help. You're gonna fall off in the water and keep messing around. Not gonna help.
My hands are so cold, I can't even breathe. I gotta grab it.
He'll be riding it with his teeth here in a minute because he can't feel his left hand.
He enjoyed crappie fishing probably as much, if not more, than bass fishing, so we decided that we were gonna enter in some tournaments about 5 years ago, and from that point it went into winning Angler of the Year and on our state trail there in Oklahoma, and being in the top 20 in the first 2 years in Crappie Masters, and then third year in being in the top 10 as far as Angler of the Year and Crappie Masters, and now to fishing the elite. Actually being able to be a part of the industry on several different levels is a pretty cool thing, but for the most part, Keaton and I have a different mission in life with, it's not just crappie fishing to us, you know, it's just meeting and being able to minister to folks on the trail, and you're gaining a family rather than just friendships and fishermen. So there's a whole lot more to it than just fishing. I was in the Army active for a year, and then I transferred to Army National Guard for the remainder of my 8-year term. I ETS'd out in October 26, 2001. I went in 1993, right after graduation. I was in basic and AIT. I come home in 94 to find out that my wife was pregnant with my son, Keaton. Spent the next 7 years, I was a active duty recruiter aide in the state of Oklahoma. I have a TikTok that we started, been over a year ago. We were doing a TikTok live and had a gentleman by the name of Kurt Bullock which you guys most have heard the story.
My name is Kurt Bullock. I am a veteran from the Marine Corps, and guys with PTSD, our minds kind of go from us at times. It's a daily fight, and I had come to the end. I wanted to be done, and I had been on TikTok and met Les Keaton.
He was on the verge of committing suicide. He is a veteran, Marine Corps veteran. His wife is an Army veteran, disabled, and both retired from the military. And he was going through a bad spell in life and was just at wit's end with life in general. Pulled into his garage to commit suicide one night, and he come across our TikTok live, and we were talking about hope in Christ.
They were having a discussion about, you know, if you commit murder and you ask God to forgive you and you truly mean it, you'll be forgiven. Well, I have a problem with that. That sticks in my head, you know. Things that I've done in my life, I didn't do it for God, I did it for the government. Does he really forgive me for what I've done? We got into that debate and that discussion that night, later on that night, but that's what pulled me off the ledge. You know, these guys showed me love, they supported me, they saved me. They truly did. Their message saved me.
And he booked a trip with me the following week. From that point, he started, we became really good friends, close friends.
I'd seen these guys on social media, but I needed to physically be in front of them. You know, over a camera's not gonna work.
I met him, hauled him down there. We got down there and we went out on the lake, and I asked him, I said, hey, what's your personal best fish? And he tells me, and we kind of hit it off because we'd had this conversation on TikTok several times, and so we kind of bonded almost instantly. He walked up, gave me a hug, you know, we don't know each other, and I shook his hand, and I just said, man, just a mountain of a man, you know.
211, that was, we don't have fish like that in Indiana. So him putting me on a 211 was fun. That was my wife's fish.
And we pull in this cove, and his wife, Shawn, is up front, and she fishes a little bit, and she says, Kurt, you get up here, and he's like, no, you just go ahead. And
she's like, just go fish it. I'm like, all right, but I've told you. And
he finally jumps up there with me, and the first fish he catches is about a 150, 160. He turns around, and we push up to a stump, and I said, oh, Kurt, that's what dreams are made of right there.
Sure thing, second drop, boom, 211.
He drops down, whop, hits 211. It's his personal best.
To me, that's something. When you get a 1.5 back home, a 160, 170, that's a big fish. But for a 211, just made it all worth it right there.
I was getting ready to pull out of the cove, and I said, we're gonna go to a different spot, and we're gonna drop the line someplace else. And he said, hey, do me a favor. He said, take me back over there where we caught that fish. Not really knowing what's going on in Kurt's mind, I didn't know at the time but his dad passed away, and he really had no closure.
Had my dad passed 3 years earlier with brain cancer, and to see your best friend lay there unconscious for 5 days is a rough way to go, and I didn't have closure because I didn't get to say goodbye. He went unconscious before I got there.
And we pull back over there to where he caught that 2-pounder, and I see him, he jumps out of the seat and he walks to the back of the boat and he digs around the bag that he's got and he pulls out his dad's urn. Comes to the front of the boat, takes the lid off, and he starts tapping his dad's ashes into the water. Not like any guy trip you've ever been on, but he had some closure. And I seen him go to the back of the boat, and he just laid on his wife's shoulder and started weeping.
To dump his ashes right there where I caught that 211, I got my closure. I got it. I know where he's at and I'm at, and we're good with that. I got it for sure.
We load up, and he comes up and he gives me a hug, and he says, man, he says, you don't know, have no idea what you've done in my life. And I still don't know the story, but he goes over and he takes the little urn tag of his dad's, and he says, he walks up to me and he hands it to me, and he says, I want you to put that on that key ring and take Pops fishing with you every time you go. So I still have that urn tag. It started out on my Ranger, and now it's on the Vexus, and that's where the rescue story starts.
This boat was actually purchased by him for Keaton and I to fish the tournament trail on.
Honestly, I was gonna buy a boat for myself, and I'd been pinging these guys, what's a good boat, what's a good boat? And then, I asked about a Vexus, and he's like, yeah, it's a good boat. And then he was in Nichols Marine one day, they had a breakdown, and he said, Curtis, this is the boat right here. If you're gonna get one, this is the one.
And I was doing a live, and I was walking through the store, and I said, Curtis Bullock, you on here? And he said, I'm here, pal. And I said, that's the boat you need right there.
Well, at that point, when he said that, it wasn't about me anymore. And I got to thinking, these guys have done so much for me that they don't even know. I'm gonna show them a little appreciation, and I'm gonna do something for them. Called Craig Nichols, and Craig there at Nichols Marine, and the rest is history. I bought the boat and kept it a hidden secret for about a month and a half, and did a lot of behind the scenes stuff with my buddies Dan and Cody from Operation Freedom Outdoors. They helped me out a bunch, and it turned into something pretty big, I think.
It has been a blessing just being able to get to know him on that level. So that is the rescue story. Thus the name. His life has changed, his marriage has changed. So God is good. Woo. Stick and move, baby, stick and move. Whew. Golly, that sucker's fat. I'm gonna say probably 165, 170. Crappie fishing or fishing in general to me is just kind of therapeutic. I know Kurt, being a disabled veteran, he likes to be out on the boat. He doesn't even have to fish. It's just about being involved in the outdoors. I know Operation Freedom Outdoors is another organization that we support. Well, I lied, a 191. And what they do is they provide veterans hunting trips, fishing trips, things like that. Getting on the boat and taking your mind off of the cares of the world is a huge thing. And it also gives you an opportunity to be able to minister to people through the outdoors. It's extremely therapeutic. You kind of forget about everything that's going on around you. That's the benefits of fishing. Does it get frustrating? Absolutely, but even the most frustrating time on the boat is still better than worrying about everything that's going on in the world today. So definitely therapeutic. I know it's helped a lot of people deal with anxiety and depression and things like that, so absolutely a good thing.